What's up, fellow lords of game? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while because I took a little bit of vacation, but I'm back. After enjoying the outdoors, we're jumping back into Queensland Desert to patch 1.13. Yeah, so we skipped over 1.12 and we got a little bit of a smaller update in here. This one's not the biggest, but it does give us some really good insights into where we might be going with the rework to the story and future plans for the game. And I've kind of brought this up repeatedly. Let's talk about it. Oongka and Damian are the centerpieces of this update. So the biggest change here is that now Oongka and Damian can both enter the Abyss. This is really a lot bigger than I think people would take it for. The game is segmented into the open world session and then these puzzle areas and then the boss fights within the story. And largely Oongka and Damian are locked out of that content. But here we go with them now gaining access to the Abyss. And the changes for the Abyss are even bigger because the refight battles for the bosses are now synced up so that way Oongka and Damian can affect those. What we kind of look like we're leaning to here is exactly what I thought we were probably going to go with. You know, the game having originally be created as a MMO type game in the vein of Black Desert Online, but being pulled back into a story, so that way the single player story type game. Now we're going to be getting Oongka and Damian. They're fleshing out those characters a little bit more. It's the possibility of could we see other type of classes as they expand the game world, so that way it adds more replayability in the single player scope. Hopefully this is true. It's useful that they're getting the update because that means that they're being integrated more into the major systems of the game, and that means future characters that they could implement into the game could also be featured inside of the way the game's major systems are. It gives players a lot of playability, a lot of viability for, you know, what they want, and a lot of replay value, because there are going to be players that are going to see specific weapons or specific classes that they're going to be like, hey, you know what, Oongka and Damian were cool, Cliff was cool, but how about let me replay the game world in this character over here. So if you're looking for that, you know, the memory fragments, the boss battles for some of the major bosses like Calburn, Goyen, the Crowcrawler, and the Clockwork Whitehorn, you can now do those with them. So it's it's not the biggest update, but it is leaning towards where we want to go. Next thing is the pets. They got a small update, but it's a great addition, right? So when your character rests in bed, summon pets now rest with you. It's not a huge gameplay feature, but it's just one of those small touches that Crimson Desert just add. The same way somebody figured out that, oh, I could get these fishing pods, the fishing traps, and put them in the water and actually trap fish. It's just like that immersion piece that kind of makes you want to come back to the game, because you're like, that's what I want. I want to have this escapism when I play a game, and this helps me escape in a way that you hadn't before. So not the biggest, but it's there. So outside of this, they also got the hunter sigils. So this lets birds retrieve prey and gatherable items based on their specialty as well. So it gives birds more utility. So it's another one of those expansion systems, right? Like, yeah, we wanted the ability for some of the animals to help us attack. Like, I love having the white wolf because it helps you out in battle. The same with the bear as my summonable mount. But then you basically get this hunter sigil that you can put on your birds, and that gives you reason to go out and find some birds and then, you know, catch your hawks, your phoenix preys, and things like that. So that's really cool. Now, outside of this, one that I'm really happy to see is that patch adds more equipment for Cliff, Oongka, and Damian. So Cliff and Oongka get 39 new pieces of equipment. That's 39. That includes boss gear, armor, and headgear. And Damian gets 8 new pieces of armor. The reason why this is good is because, like, again, the same thing. It might seem like something small, but it's the integration of the system. If I was to play Black Desert Online, for instance, I could go in and any one of the male characters can wear the male uniforms and the female characters can wear the female, and it just becomes this meshed thing. So that way, when I'm playing that character class, I feel like I'm almost playing the story from that character class's perspective. So Oongka can now equip most of Cliff's outfits, and Damian can now equip more boss equipment, and then Cliff and Oongka can also equip several cuckoo gear items as well. So this adds on the surface layer, it just adds a little bit more customization for the characters. But on the back end of the game and what we could see with future, it adds a little bit more space for us to understand that we could potentially get other classes. I'm telling you, this was on the agenda, but you know, we'll see if I'm right in the long run overall. So the next thing that they did was there were dye options that were also included. So some of the disguise outfits that you had, those couldn't be dyed. They made them dyed. Most weapons and secondary weapons can now also be dyed. So it's solid customization. No problem with that overall. I think more players are going to be happy with customization options overall. So there are some few crafting edition items as well. So the patch added crafting recipes for 4 types of carpets. I didn't really care about carpets. I would like to see the housing system, the build system expanded a little bit more. The houses that they have currently are pretty damn small for me to be caring about where I place items. Maybe if they just made them a little bit larger, I would care a little bit more, but in terms of just furnishing, it's there. But if you do care, 4 types of carpets have been added, along with recipes for lightning bolt plate armor, the scorch flame plate armor, and then the frost curse plate armor. So those cuckoo recipes are now there, so you can craft those. So this continues some of the housing crafting support that you basically saw in the game. It's just in a very small way. On the combat side of things, muskets and pistols can now be fired while sliding. Not the biggest thing, again, because this just adds like a little bit of you know, immersion into the gameplay. So if you haven't been playing Battlefield or Call of Duty and you just want to be slide shooting, then there you go, it's in there right now. So I guess it's cool overall for that one. It's a combat improvement, sure. I don't know how many people are slide shooting muskets and pistols, but you know, treating the game like it's Call of Duty. But this game is weird like that, so there probably are some players who haven't done that. You know, I saw that that you can now go get crossbolts and stuff like that. So we'll have to see where they go with it, because the game world's just so huge, so we can see a whole lot. They also added new special attacks for a couple of enemies: the Flame Knight, Wyvern Flames, the Savage Fang, and the Golden Scale Bandits. That's it. Outside of this, they basically did a whole lot of UI character cleanup, so like fixes to certain issues like Oongka's scattershot puzzles, Damian's lightning strikes. Those type of fixes happened in the background. So the UI, going back to the UI, one of the bigger things that they added inside of this is there's now an option so you can hide the mini map and the status HUD. So this is really, really great for those players like myself. I play it in cinematic, so if you want to take screenshots without having the HUD, without having all of that stuff up, and you want a more immersive experience, just that option to just hide those elements, overall just a really, really cool thing. I don't mind it at all. I like it. So outside of this, there were some additional small changes that they said that they were going to try to improve for, like stability fixes. So for instance, one of the big things was players were getting boss crashes when they were doing rematches for bosses, and then load times. They specifically wanted to address the load times for the game, because they're definitely long, especially when you first boot up the game, and the PS5 specifically has some stutterings. So overall, a lot of stuff that they've basically just patched out, small things, but the main things was the integration of Oongka and Damian into a lot of the systems here. I'm really looking forward to where Crimson Desert goes from here, because this is one of those games where it could be Elder Scrolls Skyrim, that if the players continue to play the game and support the game, then we're probably going to get a whole lot more from the Pearl Abyss team. And the real benefit to what they're doing right now is none of this is DLC. This is all considered additions to the base game to improve that, to incentivize more people to just buy the base game. So you're not having to get all of this stuff as part of any additional expansion content like that or whatever. This is just base level game stuff, like, hey, we should have added this in, or this should have been part here for the base game. So now if you're a new player and you're getting the new player experience, you'll be able to play the game with Oongka and Damian. I think that they should basically continue that, like I've said, and make it so that way Cliff is not the de facto person that's the story being told from, but maybe you get Oongka, Damian, and other additional characters later on that become the centerpiece to the story, or can at least be told through their eyes. We'll have to see where they go from here, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget, drop a comment, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys. Peace.